Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me start by thanking the Security Minister for the briefing and information he provided ahead of his statement. And let me also join the Security Minister in paying tribute to the officers, both in our police force and in the security service, who work so hard and take personal risks to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, let's start with Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee assessment into China, published a year or two ago. They found that China had penetrated, and I quote, every sector of our economy. And when the Security Minister a moment ago said that China merely posed a challenge, he was wrong, I think, to use that word. China poses a threat. They pose a threat because they participate and organise systemic espionage into our public institutions, including Parliament. They purloin intellectual property from universities and from companies, particularly in the technology sectors, and they routinely spy on the UK as a state. They also engage in transnational repression of Chinese citizens here, including running secret, undeclared police stations and putting bounties on the heads of individuals. So the word challenge, Mr. Speaker, is not strong enough. The state of China poses a threat. Now, the Security Minister said that the government would robustly challenge China, but I would just gently point out some of the decisions the government has taken in practice. We saw a signal back at the G7 last year when the Prime Minister was, I'm afraid to say, obsequious in dealing with President Xi, appearing to prioritise economic links above security considerations. We have also not seen any decision to place China in the enhanced tier of the FIRS scheme, even though that regime has now been in place for several months, and the government appears to be viewing with favour the application for a new super embassy in London, which our allies, including America, are urging us not to consent, and which many of our intelligence services say will be used as a base for espionage activities. So the government's record on China, Mr. Speaker, causes deep concern. But of equal concern is this particular case, and Mr. Speaker, you set out why that is of particular concern to Parliament, given that the alleged espionage activities touch directly on Parliament and the way that MPs do their duty. Now, I have in front of me a briefing provided to the press by the CPS, dated April the 26th, 2024, when these charges were first laid. And this CPS briefing says that one of the subjects was commissioned over a period exceeding a year, between December 2021 and February 23, by a Chinese intelligence asset. 34 reports on what this note describes as very specific topics, some of which relate directly and personally to members of Parliament. One of the Deputy National Security Advisors told the CPS that he assessed this information to be, and I quote, directly or indirectly useful to the Chinese state. And he said this information was, and I quote, prejudicial to the safety or interests of the United Kingdom. Given the gravity of that assessment, it is astonishing these charges have now been withdrawn. The Crown Prosecution Service clearly assessed these allegations and the evidence against the law, against the 1911 Act, in 2024, and they found the test to have been met. So why is it today, over a year later, suddenly we're told the test is no longer met? So my question to the Security Minister is a simple one. Given the gravity of the charges I just read out, what has changed between last year and this year? Why is a case which met the threshold and met the test in April 2024 all of a sudden determined not to? And can I ask specifically, did anyone in government put any pressure on the Crown Prosecution Service in relation to this case? Did the government fully cooperate with the police and the security services and the CPS in providing the information required, including in relation to the definition of an enemy? Can the Security Minister give the House those express assurances, because I certainly share the Speaker's concerns, and I'm sure the concerns of many others, that what appears to be extremely serious espionage, assessed as such in that written disclosure that I read out, assessed by the Deputy National Security Advisor as being prejudicial to our national interest, has all of a sudden, and with no explanation, been dropped, even though previously, just a year and a bit ago, it was assessed this case did meet the threshold. Mr. Speaker, this House and the country needs to know what exactly has changed.